why your grind is killing you, and why softness might be your only way out. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, hosted by LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. This is the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. Today, I had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Dr. Alicia Delgado-Gavin, a psychologist, marriage and family therapist, author, and speaker who has spent over 20 years working with the mental health population. Dr. Delgado-Gavin runs her own private practice and co-hosts the Doctor and the Realist podcast with her husband. But what makes her voice so vital right now, what makes her work so urgent, is this. She is redefining what strength looks like for Black women professionals and entrepreneurs. She is challenging the narrative that we must grind ourselves into dust to prove our worth. She is making the world a better place by giving Black women permission to be soft, to rest, to set boundaries, and to build careers and businesses that honor their mental health and their humanity. And today, I am going to share the insights from our conversation in a way that I hope will shift how you think about ambition, success, and survival. Let me start with something Dr. Delgado Gavin said that stopped me in my tracks, something that felt like a punch to the chest and a balm to my soul at the same time. She told me that for Black professionals and entrepreneurs, emotional softness is not a liability. It is a competitive strategy and a mental health necessity. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive. I know it sounds like the opposite of everything we have been taught. We have been conditioned generation after generation to believe that we must constantly grind, overperform, and armor up to survive racism, sexism, and economic instability. We have been taught that strength means absorbing everything in silence and never needing help. We have been taught that if we are not grinding, we are failing. If we are not overperforming, we are falling behind. If we are not armored up, we are vulnerable. But Dr. Delgado Gavin showed me the data, and the data tell a different story. This constant hypervigilance, this relentless overfunctioning is burning us out. It is pushing us out of the workforce. It is limiting our leadership and our business potential. It is killing our creativity. It is destroying our relationships. It is stealing our joy. Dr. Delgado Gavin reframes what she calls the soft girl era as a trauma informed, evidence based approach to how we work, lead, and build businesses. It is about setting boundaries. It is about designing work around our nervous systems. It is about honoring our need for rest and support and building relationships that nourish us instead of deplete us. And as a psychologist and marriage and family therapist, she sees this every single day. When Black women and Black families embrace this softer, more regulated way of living and working, they become more creative, more strategic, and more resilient, and not less. So, let me share three key insights from my conversation with Dr. Delgado Gavin that I want you to hold on to. Three truths that might just change the way you see yourself, your work, and your worth. First, the system is not neutral. You are not failing. You are navigating structural barriers. Black women's unemployment and underemployment remain significantly higher than national averages. We are more likely to be shut out of jobs, pushed into precarious work, and denied promotions and funding. This is not about individual inadequacy. This is about systemic bias. And Dr. Delgado Gavin said something that felt like a balm to my soul. Naming that truth is the first mental health intervention. When we stop blaming ourselves for outcomes that are shaped by forces beyond our control, we free up emotional energy to focus on what we can actually change. When we stop internalizing the lie that we are not good enough, not smart enough, not strategic enough, we can finally see the truth. The game is rigged. And once we see that, we can stop playing by their rules and start writing our own. Second, your nervous system is an asset in your business and career, not an inconvenience. Chronic stress, racial battle fatigue, and constant overfunctioning in the workplace or in entrepreneurship show up as anxiety, depression, relationship strain, and burnout. Learning to regulate your emotions, set limits, and design your work around your real capacity is a strategic move, not a soft weakness. It protects your brain, your relationships, and your decision making, which are the core engines of your success. Dr. Delgado-Gavin reminded me that when we ignore our nervous systems, we make worse decisions. We damage our relationships. We sabotage the very success we are working so hard to achieve. Your nervous system is not an inconvenience to work around. It is the foundation on which everything else is built. And when you honor it, when you listen to it, when you design your life and your work around it, you become unstoppable. Third, you do not have to choose between ambition and softness. You need both. The data show that Black women are launching businesses at high rates and are highly represented in the labor force, yet we face higher unemployment, massive funding gaps, and fewer promotions. Softness, rest, support, community, and healthy relationships is what allows you to sustain your ambition without breaking down. Your business and career strategy should include your mental health plan, your support system, and your relationship health just as intentionally as your revenue goals or promotion plans. You do not have to choose. You need both. And when you honor both, you become a force. Now, let me share 3 stories that Dr. Delgado Gavin walked me through. Stories that illustrate exactly what this looks like in real life. Stories that will show you that softness is not weakness. Softness is strategy. Softness is survival. Softness is the thing that allows us to sustain our ambition without breaking down. The first story is about Melissa Butler and the lip bar. Melissa Butler is a Black woman and former Wall Street analyst who started making lipstick in her Brooklyn kitchen. She was frustrated with products that contained harmful chemicals and excluded darker skin tones. She built the lip bar around the idea that women, especially Black women, should be free from harsh beauty standards and toxic ingredients. This was a brand that reflected softness, that centered self acceptance and care in an industry built on criticism and pressure. But here's what happened: Melissa went on Shark Tank and she was rejected on national television. Investors dismissed her vision and her product. They told her it would not work. They told her there was no market. They told her to give up. She faced the dual bias of being a Black woman founder in an industry and funding landscape where women led startups receive only about 2.3% of venture capital funding, and women of color face even greater hurdles. She had to navigate the emotional toll of public rejection and systemic underfunding while still believing in her vision. So, what did Melissa do? She leaned into authenticity and community. She focused on Black women and other women of color who were ignored by mainstream brands, and she centered messaging around self love and inclusion. She forged retail relationships step by step, starting with small partnerships before securing shelf space in Target and later Walmart. She invested in brand storytelling that celebrated softness, individuality, and everyday women, not just unattainable beauty ideals. And here is the outcome: the lip bar is now sold in thousands of retail locations across the United States with a strong direct to consumer presence and a devoted community. The brand has become a powerful example of how centering marginalized consumers and emotional well being, rejecting harmful standards, uplifting diverse beauty can be a successful business strategy. After Shark Tank, instead of internalizing the rejection as a personal failure, Melissa used it as fuel, maintaining a grounded, emotionally honest approach, acknowledging the hurt while staying aligned with her mission. Her story is widely cited as proof that rejection and systemic bias do not have to harden you. Softness, self trust, and community focused strategy can coexist with aggressive business growth. The second story Dr. Delgado Gavin shared with me is about Walker's Legacy, founded by Natalie Madeira Cofield. Walker's Legacy is a global organization created to support multicultural women in business with a strong focus on Black women entrepreneurs. It provides education, mentorship, and community, addressing not just skills and capital, but also the emotional and relational isolation many Black women founders experience. Here is the challenge: Black women are among the fastest growing groups of entrepreneurs, yet they receive a tiny share of venture and bank funding and often operate with limited social capital. Many face chronic stress from racism, sexism, family responsibilities, and economic pressure, leading to burnout and mental health strain. Traditional entrepreneurship support tends to ignore mental health, relationships, and cultural context. So, what did Natalie do? Walker's Legacy created programs, fellowship cohorts, and local chapters that blend business education with network building and mentorship among women of color. The organization acknowledges systemic barriers, offering culturally relevant support instead of pathologizing Black women's struggles as purely personal failures. It fosters spaces where Black women can be emotionally honest about challenges, a form of softness that reduces shame and isolation while promoting resilience. And the outcomes? Walker's Legacy has served thousands of women entrepreneurs through training programs and events in multiple United States cities and internationally. Alumni have gone on to start and scale businesses, gain contracts, and access new networks of support. Natalie named the organization after Madam CJ. Walker, honoring a legacy of Black women's entrepreneurship. She recognized from her own journey that ambition without community and culturally aware support can be emotionally devastating. So she built an ecosystem that centers both economic and emotional empowerment. Walker's Legacy has helped normalize the idea that Black women's success requires both capital and community, both strategy and softness. The third story is about Therapy for Black Girls, founded by Black psychologist Dr. Joy Harden Bradford. Therapy for Black Girls is an online platform, directory, and podcast focused on normalizing mental health care for Black women and girls. It has become a widely recognized brand intersecting psychology, media, and community building, showing how centering emotional wellness can itself be an entrepreneurial and professional pathway. Here is the challenge: Black women face higher rates of stress and are more likely to experience economic and workplace instability, including elevated unemployment. Cultural stigma around therapy, alongside a shortage of Black mental health providers, has historically made it difficult for Black women to access culturally competent care. Many Black professional women and entrepreneurs internalize the strong Black woman stereotype, avoiding help until they are in crisis. Dr. Bradford created an accessible therapist directory, podcasts, and educational content specifically for Black women using warm, culturally relevant language that dismantles stigma. She built community around the idea that softness, seeking therapy, resting, feeling your emotions is both valid and vital. The platform models how a mental health informed approach can be scaled through digital media and business structures. And the outcomes? Therapy for Black Girls has millions of podcast downloads and a robust online following, with many users reporting that the platform helped them find therapists and reframe their understanding of mental health. The brand has partnerships and visibility that extend its reach across the United States and beyond. As a licensed psychologist, Dr. Bradford saw that Black women often arrived in her office after years of carrying everyone else's burdens. She recognized the need for a space that affirmed their experiences and normalized therapy as part of everyday life, not just a last resort. Therapy for Black girls has shifted narratives about mental health among Black women, integrating therapy and emotional care into the conversation about success, relationships, and career. It exemplifies how a Black woman mental health professional can build a sustainable enterprise rooted in the very softness and psychological safety we are often taught to suppress. So, what do these three stories have in common? They show us that softness is not weakness. Softness is strategy. Softness is survival. Softness is the thing that allows us to sustain our ambition without breaking down. But here's what I need you to hear. Here is what I need you to feel in your bones. You are not failing. The system is not neutral. Your nervous system is an asset, and you do not have to choose between ambition and softness. You need both. And when you honor both, you become unstoppable. So here's my challenge to you. If you stopped leading and working from survival mode and started designing your career, business, and relationships around what your mind, body, and spirit actually need, what would you change in the next 30 days? I want you to choose one specific boundary, rest practice, or supportive conversation you will commit to this week that moves you out of grind only living and closer to a softer, sustainable version of your success. Journal on it, discuss it with a partner or friend, bring it into therapy or coaching so you are not trying to make that shift alone. Because the world needs you whole, not broken. The world needs you rested, not exhausted. The world needs you soft, not hardened. And the world needs you to stop apologizing for taking up space, for needing support, for choosing yourself. Your softness is not a liability, it is your superpower. And it is time you started treating it that way.